Call me out upon the waters, the great unknown, where feet may fail. And there I find you in the mystery, in oceans deep. My faith will stand, and I will call upon your name. Keep my eyes above the waves when oceans rise. My soul will rest in your embrace. I am yours. You are mine. Your grace abounds in deepest water. Your sovereign hand will be my guide. And there I find you in the mystery, in oceans deep. My faith will stand. I will call upon your name. Keep my eyes above the waves. Oh Lord, be with us today as we talk about a life in pure faith, way out beyond the skinny branch, plummeting, as it were, towards our death, to be who you've called us to be. You've never failed and you won't start now. How many of you believe that? How many of you know that to be true? Whatever building you go to or don't to worship, that thing that you know is greater than you. Whatever that thing is that encourages you, that moves you forward to be better in the world, to do good, to maximize while it's today, and to make the world a better place, to leave your mark and your imprint, not for vain, selfish ambition, but to enhance and improve the lives of others. That's a faith journey. That's leaping into God and allowing Him to be the author and perfecter of your life. You may use whatever pronoun, adjective, verb, any other types of sentence structure you want to define God. The question isn't a question of religious doctrine, but rather faith, purely faith, the faith that goes beyond our sight. The Bible's filled with people who stepped out on faith. Noah. There are some scientists believe that it literally in Earth pre-Noah never had rained. So it wasn't just a matter of Noah built the ark before it started raining. Noah built the ark believing that it was going to rain when he didn't know what rain was. Abraham, then called Abram, his name even hadn't been changed yet. And God spoke to him. And he said, I'm calling you out to a land that I'm going to show you. Now, I know this one all too well because this is the faith journey I'm on right now. God purely just saying to me, go east. And I'm sure, just like I am, Abraham was like, could I get a little bit of a hint? Where am I going? How much provisions do I need? What about this? What about that? And God just simply said, I'll show you. You just need to pack up and go. And so I sit and I'm on my mounted camera on top of my thing here, so I can't show you around my house. I may do a live stream here in a day or two that shows you the state of packed readiness that I'm in, waiting for the gun to go off, if you will, and to head east. And I'm terrified. And I imagine so was Abraham. Not only did God tell him that, but he said, I'm going to move you to this place and I'm going to make you a great nation. And God, too, has promised me that there are amazingly great things when I get to the wherever he's sending me. And I feel a little bit like Abraham, who was an old man, and his wife was beyond the years that she could have children. And yet God was promising this childless couple that they should just go to a place wherever, and that they were going to be this huge, world-changing family. And we know now that in spite of all that the people of Israel have been through, that they are a great nation, that their numbers are vast and they span the globe. And yes, there is the nation of Israel, but there is greater, the people that are descendants of Abraham. It's interesting, actually, because if you actually follow the lineage of all of those countries there, every single one of them traces themselves back to Abraham. Much of the conflict in the Middle East is sibling rivalry. It's the sons of Ishmael believing that they are the chosen ones, not the sons of Isaac. Because though Isaac was Sarah's oldest son, he was not Abraham's oldest son. And you could get into deep debates as to which one's right, and I'm not here to do that. But you have a world filled with people who are now descendants of Abraham, who simply stepped out. You see, it's that concept of being on the skinny branch. Most of us that are people of faith, we live, we maybe even thrive a little bit out there on the skinny branch. You know, you've seen the squirrels running out on the power lines and on the skinny branches and on the, oh my gosh, that you can see it bending. It's not supporting their weight. And we feel that branch bend towards the earth, but we also feel the substance of it underneath of our feet. And we feel somehow solid and confident because we've been out on skinny branches for so many years that we understand that. But have you ever seen the squirrel leap off of the skinny branch? Have you ever made that leap yourself? Now there's nothing but air beneath you. And though most of the times that I've seen the squirrel jump, he's been jumping towards something specifically, some of us know what it's like to just know we have to jump. I think intuitively the squirrel knows when the branch is about to snap. And perhaps, very possibly, that's why God told us to jump off of that skinny branch. Because he knew that if we stayed there, it would snap and we literally would plummet towards earth. But then when we jump in a direction that he's told us, we then find ourselves flying terrified through the air towards that thing that's so much better for us than the skinny branch that's about to snap. And so we live purely by faith, way beyond our sight. God hasn't told us. He hasn't said. And then when you get 2.3 miles, you will take a left. There isn't that GPS that tells us you're going to get on Interstate 40 and you're going to go for the next 7 hours on this road. If you were going from here to, say, I think that's Albuquerque from here. It might be a little further than 7 hours. I don't know. You know that it's on Highway 10, 5 hours to get from where I am to Phoenix. And you can live in the confidence of the fact that as the time goes by, you're getting closer. I mean, unless you pull over and stop. But when we're out in that purely faith, flying through the air beyond our sight, where there is no GPS and it doesn't tell us, stay on this road. All we know is that when it's time to turn, we'll turn. And somehow we know that's what we're supposed to do. I know there's some of you out there that know what that's like too. That you too are living purely on faith. And I'm sure that, like I am, you're terrified. The fear wants to every minute overwhelm you, to tell you to stop, to take a different path. Go back and take that safe job that isn't fulfilling, doesn't give you what you need, but it's a weekly paycheck. And you've gotten kind of addicted to that amount of money. And oh yes, you've learned how to spend every dime of it. It seemed like so much when you started, and by the time you left that career, you were used to that lifestyle. And now you're away from it. And you sometimes feel the siren call of it beckoning you back to that place of safety. That's not the skinny branch. That's the whole trunk of the tree. That's all nestled up inside of the tree, safe, with a stash of goodies to just be able to eat and grow fat all winter long. But I'm talking about those of us who have had the faith to leap, to know that there's, or we've been told at least, that there's more, and to believe that what we were told is true. And so we take that leap. And now we're flying. And sometimes the flying is a thrilling, exhilarating feeling. We're flying through the air. And other times, all we in our sight can see is the ground getting closer and closer. And maybe we even feel convinced that we're just going to crash. That the earth is going to rise up to meet us and will be nothing but a smushy spot on the ground. For those of you that have seen the movie Hook with Robin Williams, the book was written by Terry Brooks, one of my very favorite authors. And at the end of the movie, Wendy says to Peter, "So, Peter, your adventures have finally come to an end." And Peter says back, "Oh no, to live, that will be a great adventure." And so, even as the earth rises up and we feel like we're plummeting, I encourage you today to live, to enjoy the experience, even in this terror, and let it be the great adventure that today is. And find a way, even in all of this fear, in all that you're going through, in all that feels like it isn't, even in that place, to rejoice while it's called today, to maximize today, to just simply be the best version of yourself. I tend to be really real with you here anyway, but I'm going to get really real with you. I did this live not because I'm filled with confidence and peace and joy, but rather because I'm so far out, plummeting towards the earth, that it's hard for my brain to wrap around the very thought that I won't just smush. And yet, I choose to step out on faith, to share with you what I'm going through, and to encourage you that you're not alone too. And to even say to you boldly, maybe crashing into the earth would be the greatest of all adventures. I don't know. I've never done it before. Whatever you're going through today, and I know some of you it's very difficult. Most of us are avoiding the news these days because there's nothing good. But even in the midst of that, I want you to know there's hope. There's a plan. There's a purpose. That we that believe, that want good in the world, we need to be lights that shine, to do the best that we can do today, to share our brutal gut level honesty, to shine. Because, oh, the darkness that has decided it now owns the world, like it has many other times before. When we shine, darkness doesn't exist. Darkness is simply an expression of some place where the light isn't shining. And so, in spite of that plummeting, terrifying feeling, I encourage you to do what you can do today, to step out, to be the person of faith that you are, to thrive while it's called today. I'm going to give you the link to the page that I created. It's I am, the letter I, the letter M, thrivingtoday.com. I'd love for you to read what I'm doing as I turn my face eastward, as I prepare myself and am ready to make this journey to where I don't know. There's some possibilities. It's not like I don't have thoughts and wishes and wants and dreams and potential, but I don't know. And some of you maybe will choose to participate, to be part of that, to be a prayer partner, to decide to take me up on the really amazing special bonus add-on offer that I gave, so that you can actually work with me and talk with me, and we can help you grow through faith, through prayer, through the 50 years of experience that I've gotten in all the things I've done, both as a minister, but also as a sales and marketer for the last 50 years. And even as I travel, you can up level to that next for you. Love to do that with you. Maybe there's even somebody that's listening that you feel the call to support me in a big way. You're like, Steve, I know that you're moving probably somewhere in the middle of the United States. Colorado, Wyoming, Kansas, something like that. I'm not sure, but that's what I think maybe. And I could be totally wrong because God hasn't told me. But maybe you feel called to not just give me $5, which I totally would appreciate. Maybe you want to give a massive amount. Maybe you want to say, Steve, when you get there, this money is going to be in your account, and I want you to buy a house. And I want you to begin to build a retreat for others, a hurt healing hospital, as a pastor of mine used to call it, where people can find refreshing, and where from that zone you can continue to thrive and to shine and to share with the world how to maximize while it's called today, how to live purely on faith, way beyond sight, and to know that if the ground rises up to meet you, that God will be there too, that He already has caught you before you jumped. He was already there at the end. And in the middle and in the midst of all of your terror, holding you and loving you, you, His precious child. Sometimes as children, we don't understand why our parents tell us to do something. And sometimes we just have to obey because we know by the sound of their voice that it's serious. I have my little Mocha trained. Whenever I do like an Instacart delivery or something, I bring her here into my room and I close the door so that I can have the doors opened. Because she would want to run out and visit everybody in the world if she was out in the living room with the door wide open like that. And she's gotten to be a really good girl where when she hears my voice that way, she gets up out of her bed and comes, though slowly, into the room. And she knows that I've got her and that she's safe. I want you to feel that feeling too. Even though it may feel like you're being asked to come out of your comfy bed and go into the room with the door closed behind you all by yourself, to also know that it's because your Father wants to keep you safe, away from harm, and in the safe space. So as you make your leap of faith today, as you no longer are even comfortable with being on the skinny branch, but you want to be flying through the air to the next thing that God's called you to. Thrive while it's called today, on a level exceedingly abundantly above all you can ask or even think. You see, I just put out into the world that somebody wants to contribute to my trip to the point where it's so much money I can buy a house. You see, now I've put the bar up higher for exceedingly abundantly above all that I can ask or even think. What does that mean? Because anything that I say, it means it'll be even more than that. Maybe you want to come alongside me and be my lifelong partner, financially, in prayer. I don't know. I believe very strongly that there's somebody out there that still is going to be my life partner for the rest of my life. Even as I sit here by myself all alone, just me and my dog, all packed up and ready to go east. I still believe it. Whatever that may be, I know that it will be exceedingly abundantly above all that I can ask or even think, because of His power that works within us, according to His riches and glory. You know, we used to sing the old song, He owns the cattle on 1,000 hills, the wealth in every mine. What if we really believed that? He is my Father, so they're mine as well. What if we lived that way? What are the things today that you're out flying through the air with the earth plummeting as the earth rises up while you plummet? How can I support you today? What can I pray for you for today? How can you live today thriving and truly free, exceedingly abundantly above all that you can ask or even think, according to his riches in Christ Jesus? Thanks for listening. I didn't know how long we were going to go, but I knew that this message was something that many of us needed to hear. It was great for my ears. I hope it was helpful to yours too. Thanks for being here with me. I hope you're happy, safe, warm, and loved, and that you have a wonderful week until we're together again next time. Thanks for listening.